Escalating provocations and triumph, jail pets intruders and the classic Lucy resolution. The final movement of the composite episode gathers every previous strand of chaos and concentrates them into a single continuous test of Lucy Carmichael's enforced silence. The apartment, ordinarily a site of domestic scheming and temporary disorder, is transformed into a carefully prepared laboratory of provocation. Art Linkletter's hidden design, announced to the studio audience but unknown to Lucy, now begins to operate at full strength. Each new arrival is calibrated to extract the one thing she has agreed not to give a sound. The fact that she withholds it through every escalation becomes the episode's ultimate demonstration of Lucille Ball's control over the instruments of comedy. Ruth Cosgrove, still maintaining the fiction of the impartial monitor, opens the sequence with an apparent gesture of friendship. She has purchased a beautiful makeup case and wishes Lucy to have it. The offer is extended with soft insistence. "Please take it. Please." The physical comedy of the moment resides in Lucy's mute refusal and Ruth's determined pursuit of acceptance. The case is held out, withdrawn, offered again. Lucy's face registers the full spectrum of polite resistance, gratitude, suspicion, the desperate desire to explain that acceptance is impossible under the terms of the wager. No word emerges. The gift remains suspended between them, an unclaimed object that has already performed its function of testing the boundary of silence. The next intrusion is louder and more dangerous. A woman appears at the door, summoned by Ruth's earlier telephone call, and launches into a full-scale accusation of husband stealing. Lucy is a home wrecker, a red-headed menace, a thief of other women's security. The attack is delivered with the unrestrained volume of genuine marital rage. Lucy's attempts to signal innocence, head-shaking, hand-waving, the open-palmed gesture of bewildered denial, are interpreted as further evidence of guilt. The woman's final offer that Lucy may keep the husband and his dirty laundry as well hangs in the air like an unexploded charge. Still, Lucy makes no sound. The silence, which began as a simple wager, has become a form of armor. The pet shop delivery follows with the bright efficiency of a joke that has been waiting for its moment. A dog is produced. The animal is instructed to say hello to its new mommy. Lucy's mute horror at the sudden acquisition of responsibility is played across her entire body. She cannot refuse the dog in words. She cannot demand an explanation in words. She can only accept the leash and the new wordless obligation it represents. The dog becomes another silent witness to the ordeal, a living reminder that the world continues to assign her roles she cannot verbally decline. The arrival of the fugitive is the sequence's most sustained piece of physical danger. A man bursts in, desperate for concealment, claiming he has been running for 3 years. Lucy is given no time to refuse. Moments later, the pursuer appears, gun-drawn, demanding that no one move. The fugitive's attempt to escape is aided in the confusion by Lucy's instinctive movement. The pursuer's fury is then directed at her. She will not talk. Headquarters, he informs her, has ways of making people talk. She is under arrest. The husband, presumably the one from the earlier accusation, is included in the charge for good measure. The entire arc from first knock to departure in custody unfolds without a single word from Lucy. Ball's performance is a study in continuous expressive labor, alarm calculation, reluctant cooperation, and finally the weary acceptance of a night in jail, all rendered through face posture and gesture alone. The return to the house party studio the following day completes the formal structure of the experiment. Lucy appears bedraggled, the visible evidence of the night's incarceration still upon her. Linkletter reviews the terms of the wager for the audience. Ruth Cosgrove is asked for her official report. Lucy has not spoken. The triumph seems secure. Then the alarm clock that Lucy has set for the exact end of the 24 hours begins to ring. She reaches for it with the radiant relief of a woman who has crossed the finish line. Linkletter's counter-revelation is delivered with the smooth cruelty of the professional entertainer. According to the official studio timepiece, 3 minutes remain. Lucy's own clock has been set fast. The protest that rises in her is visible, physical, and still soundless. Only when Linkletter relents, admitting the final trick, does the ordeal truly end. The subsequent disclosures arrive in a cascade of released tension. Ruth Cosgrove is an actress employed by the show. Every visitor to the apartment, the gift giver, the enraged wife, the pet shop clerk, the fugitive, the police officer was a prepared player in the same constructed drama. The night in jail was real in its discomfort but artificial in its origin. Lucy's silence has been tested against a fully engineered environment and the silence has held. The $200 is hers. The $400 that Ruth might have claimed is permanently out of reach. Congratulations are offered. Forgiveness is requested and granted. The studio audience receives the complete architecture of the joke and responds with the satisfaction of having been included in the conspiracy from the beginning. One final piece of institutional business remains. Mr. Mooney is brought on stage. The earlier firing is rescinded. Under the circumstances, Lucy may have her position back. The restoration is offered with the stiff grace of a man who has been fully briefed on the television experiment and has decided to absorb the public embarrassment as a necessary cost of seasonal and professional peace. Linkletter, sensing one last comic opportunity, proposes a reciprocal challenge. If Mooney can refrain from raising his voice to Lucy for 24 hours, he will win $200. If he fails, the money goes to her. The clock starts at once. Lucy, unable to resist the perfect closing note, greets her restored employer with the single word that has been waiting since the bank office thought so. Mooney's explosion is instantaneous. The money is Lucy's. The episode ends on the precise chord it has been seeking since the soup kitchen, the triumph of relentless, affectionate chaos over every structure that attempts to contain it. The silence sequence viewed in its entirety stands as one of the most technically demanding and emotionally satisfying achievements in Lucille Ball's television career. By removing the voice, the episode forces a return to the pure grammar of physical comedy that Ball had mastered in the years before sound became her primary instrument. Every provocation is met with a complete wordless performance. The face that could register 12 distinct shades of panic in a single take is given uninterrupted authority. The body that could turn a simple walk into a dissertation on human awkwardness is required to carry entire narrative paragraphs. The result is a reminder that the comedy of The Lucy Show, for all its reliance on rapid dialogue and intricate plotting, rests ultimately on the expressive genius of a performer who never needed sound to make an audience understand exactly what she felt. In the larger architecture of the composite episode, the final movement also functions as a thematic summation. Lucy began by attempting to rehabilitate a derelict and ended by surviving an ordeal designed by professionals. She began with the forced salvation of another and ended with the successful defense of her own silence. The through line is the same: an unshakable belief that the world can be met and mastered through sheer force of presence. Whether the adversary is a purple giraffe, an enormous Christmas tree, a sacred rain dance, or a studio full of prepared actors, the method remains constant. She does not withdraw. She does not concede. She simply continues until the situation, however artificial or overwhelming, has been absorbed into the ongoing project of being Lucy Carmichael. The closing image of Mr. Mooney's defeated temper and Lucy's quiet claim of the final $200 restores the essential equilibrium of the series. Authority has been challenged and has exploded on schedule. Generosity has been tested and has proven inexhaustible. Chaos has been invited and entertained and sent home with a check. The soup kitchen, the press party, the redwood tree, the carolers, the oil strike and the silent apartment are all left behind as chapters in a single, continuous demonstration of the principle that has always governed Lucille Ball's greatest work. The world is large and disorderly and frequently absurd, but it is never larger than the woman who meets it with open eyes, rapid invention, and the absolute refusal to remain quiet when something needs to be said, except of course, when $200 are at stake, and even then only for 24 hours, and even then only until the perfect final word presents itself.